Ash, was you Kang?
I was Kang. And they took it away from me when they took me away from Zulu.
They took you away from South Africa.
How dare they put me in the shithole of Compton? I was born South African.
You keep on
Why
referring
can't I
to
live there?
Zulu as a place, even though it's an ethnic.
Yeah, it's just an ethnic, like, tribal group.
Yeah, like they're not. I think it's
Eh, it's like the same thing as Zion.
to Zulu we march.
Yeah.
The British Zulu
uh,
spans over multiple countries.
no.
Let's talk about our overall thoughts on Kendrick Lamar first, Dash.
I'm gonna praise Zulu like how Miss Lauren Hill praises Zion.
Ash, talk about your overall thoughts on Kendrick Lamar.
Kendrick Lamar
Yeah,
as a whole or the album?
like the whole, like as a whole first before we get into it.
As a whole, I think he's a pretty good artist, but I think some of his music's a bit overrated.
Any specifics, or is it
Uh,
because you haven't listened to all the Kendrick Lamar albums?
I have not.
I feel like that.
No,
I feel like that's important to put out there.
that is important. Yes, no, I have not. It's more or less
You've listened to T
he's good in the fact that I love Good Kid, Mad City, and he's
and Damn.
uh
Give Damn
and Damn.
like
Although I haven't I gave it like an 87, but it's been a while.
oh god, give it an
Uh,
87.
and overrated in the way that To Pimp a Butterfly is considered one of the best rap albums of all time, and it's not even close.
It's not considered one of the best. It's considered the best.
That's true.
Like it's just considered the best, which I feel like is a shame.
Good Kid, Mad City is way better,
Yeah, although I haven't.
and that's not even the best rap album ever made. But if we were gonna pick a Kendrick one, it would not be To Pimp a Butterfly.
I need to re-listen to Good Kid, Mad City. It's been a while.
'Cause money trees is the perfect place for shade,
Shut up.
and that's just how I feel.
Yeah. I'm. I listened to Kendrick Lamar. I liked Section 80. I liked Good Kid, Mad City. Those are both eight and a 10 respectively. I think he's not like one of the best rappers, but he had skill, he had storytelling, he had everything to make it like to be one of the best, essentially. And then we get to Pimp a Butterfly, which just sounds like this, like the most mainstream version of jazz rap ever, with like these like black, nah, like black empowerment and like essentially nationalist themes in the album.
Uh, the themes are there. It's definitely a more mainstream sound, but I wouldn't say it's like the most mainstream. It's definitely have certain songs that don't fit like perfectly into that.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a little bit of an unfair statement.
No, I feel like this album is implementing a lot of problems Kendrick Lamar has in his later albums, where like he gets too caught up in a message, and like the most important thing about the song is the message, not like the actual how it sounds. Like I think Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers has a bigger problem with this, and to extent GNX, where like reincarnated, he's like rapping as the next Tupac, and that's the only thing the song has really. Like he uses the Tupac sample in the worst way possible, and he just thinks that's enough.
Mm.
Like his audience obviously feeds into this. Like it doesn't matter that the music's not good because of the message. They care about the message and making themselves look good over like good music.
I mean, I can't apply myself to some of the other albums, but with To Pimp a Butterfly, I know our opinions differ. You like it a lot less than me, even though I think it's overrated on re-listen. But that being said, there's still quite a few songs in here with reasonably good sound to them. Besides Message. Although then going back to that, some of the better sounding songs are the ones that don't make the message their biggest idea. Except for Blacker the Berry, that doesn't really apply.
I would like to specify that I do believe there's good sounding Kendrick songs after Good Kid, Mad City, and on this album, I believe there are.
Well, yes, but you consistently, because we went over it together, thought a lot of songs were much worse comparatively based on sound.
Yeah.
And I think that just has to do with I mean, it's everybody has different opinions. I think that just has to do with you having a more dislike for the sound overall. But I don't think the sound, I think in some places it's objectively bad, but I don't think as a whole it's as objectively bad as you make it to seem, at least with this album.
I know.
With future albums, I can't put any factor on that.
I mean, I never used the word objective when talking about the sound.
Well, you said the sound sounds bad,
yes,
and then you implied the fan base feeds into that.
Yeah, I truly believe that. Not all of them, but there's a lot of Kendrick Lamar fans, particularly online ones, that like Kendrick Lamar's music just because it's the I don't know if progressive. To do like progressive, like it's the music of the political tide, essentially.
Yeah, it's literally like political hip hop.
Yeah, it's conscious hip hop, which has a lot of problems.
Mm.
Especially in conscious hip hop in its modern form is like the worst it's ever been. It's not even close. There's no other time in history conscious hip hop has been this bad.
That I don't know if I fully agree with that.
I mean, what's the best conscious hip hop album? Like Little Sims, I think, is considered conscious.
Well, yeah, some of the best ones were there, but I don't think it's in its worst state. I think if you pop back a few years, it was absolutely at the worst state.
Like post 2010, it's in its worst state.
I guess if you're going that broad, then yes. But I think if we're talking, especially with like Kendrick Lamar, like that album came out in 2015. I think consistently it's actually had a better rise in the past couple years, like past 2-3 years.
I don't know. Conscious hip hop is just it's never been the best either, but I think the modern
the thing
modern conscious hip hop like Kendrick Lamar is worse at getting their message across in
a lot of it, yeah.
Then like let's just compare it. Like he compares himself to Tupac. Bring up Tupac. I think Tupac was just a better narrator of storytelling and a way better messenger.
Well, conscious hip hop also is just hard to do. It's a lot harder to do because of just the factor of the extra storytelling in each song and everything, that if you don't try to make conscious hip hop, you can go around and you can make it a lot simpler. It's easier to make a song sound good than to make the message stand out in it while also sounding good.
I mean, I don't know. Regardless, Kendrick Lamar is just, I don't think TPAB sounds good or gets its message across in an interesting way.
I don't think it overall sounds bad. I still like the album, but I think there's definitely quite a few songs that sound bad. And I think I can't agree with the thing of, except for a select few songs, it does not do the best job of getting its message across in an interesting format.
No. And I think another thing we have to point out is the politics of the album.
Yes.
Let's just there's a debate in music if politics matters. Is your political difference enough of a reason to dislike an album? And I'm just gonna say no, but politics matters. Like if you completely disagree with an album's political message, then like you don't like it as it wouldn't be 100. Music, your opinion is like when you give something to when you give a number rating, it's subjective.
Yeah, your opinion matters to other effects, so it's going to apply there. It shouldn't be your entire reasoning. You shouldn't say, I disagree with the message, this is a 2 out of 10, but...
Like, this album, I disagree with essentially everything Kendrick Lamar says, and that definitely moved it down, and I'm not gonna, like, pretend and lie.
I
don't think it sounds good, even if I agreed with it, but still...
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a fair point. I don't, with certain things that are said in the album, I don't agree with. And even we were talking about, that's why The Blacker the Berry, I think, is the best sounding song on the album. But it's my second highest rated song just because the message of that song, certain parts of it are fine, but the main message of that song I just disagree with because a big part of that is like white hatred.
I mean, the main message of the song is the hypocrisy. It's just the content of how.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get into that.
The content is not
how he gets to that. We'll get to that later, but yeah, to finish off my thoughts, yeah, that's how I feel. And Kendrick Lamar, I just don't like him. I don't think he's a good artist anymore. We kind of stared off, but yeah, I don't think he's a good artist. I don't think he went down a different path than I think he should have.
I think Kendrick Lamar, to an extent, I think obviously people like him, even if like I may have somewhat of a different opinion and you definitely do. Obviously, I need to listen to some more albums. But with that being said, I think Kendrick Lamar kind of falls into that thing as comparatively to how there's artists that are like overhated and people will hate on them without listening to their music just because they're known to be hated on. Kendrick Lamar is like the opposite, where people like him just because they want to say they like him, instead of actually like own opinion, like forming your own opinion on it.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier.
Yeah,
with the politics of it and the message, people just agree to agree because it makes them look good. And, you know, some part of it is just the type of people Kendrick Lamar attracts, because Kendrick Lamar, he's an egomaniac.
He is. I agree with that. There was multiple parts that annoyed me in this album because he would actually be making a fair point where I'm like, because despite me not agreeing with everything, there was parts I could agree with or I could understand from his perspective. And he would say something like that, and then he'd say something that's like egotistical and puts himself like above it, or makes it seem like he's the one that's gonna save people by them listening to this album, which is even like a big part of this album. And I just hear that and it kind of like takes it back down where I'm like, really? It hurts your own message.
The ghost of Mandela.
That is horrible. Claiming he's the ghost of Mandela because the people listening to this will be affected. He'll basically free people again. Like
Kendrick Lamar is just like he's one of the most egotistical rappers. He truly believes he doesn't believe he's the savior of hip hop. That's not the correct way. He truly believes he's like the best in the game right now.
Yeah.
He believes he's on Tupac's level.
Well, exactly.
He believes he's hip hop's main character, which, I mean, to be fair, he's kind of been for like the last year, but
it's the same thing as I mentioned earlier, but with the last song, Mortal Man, he brings up Tupac and he has based on a clip from an old thing, he basically makes it so he has a conversation with Tupac. And most rappers, when they like even use Tupac's name, people get frustrated and they're like, "You didn't really know him. If you didn't really know him, you shouldn't be using his name. Don't disrespect him like that." And then Kendrick does it, and everybody's like, "Woo! This is awesome."
Kendrick Lamar and his fans.
I know, and
he is the culture. Like he is the most important force in hip hop.
No, it's not.
Which is not true. I remember someone had the take I agree with, that like if Kendrick Lamar didn't make it big compared to like if Drake didn't make it, like Drake had like a bigger impact on hip hop over the last 10 years than Kendrick.
He did, yeah. That's just true. As much as people regularly hate Drake more, and I don't blame them. I think Kendrick is better than Drake. No, I don't either. But
think Drake's a good artist.
Yeah.
Like, come on. that's so true. Like, all the Kendrick stands for like
it's objectively true, even though I think he sucks. At the same time, he's objectively had more of an impact. He's had regularly larger songs. If you were to play songs from each artist, more people are more likely to know Drake based on his songs.
But what about Not Like Us? That song's like the biggest
So true.
ever.
Uh,
Do we even want to talk
do
about
we?
the beef?
It's just kind of stupid in general, but
Well, I wouldn't say it's stupid. It's more it's Kendrick Lamar's like the most. It truly proves Kendrick Lamar being the most overhyped rapper
uh,
ever. Like all of the diss songs besides like that suck so hard.
I don't agree with that. I like Meet the Grams a lot, but
I think the beat on Not Like Us and Meet the Grams are good.
I don't know. I honestly I like Kendrick's verse on Meet the Grams. I am not the Not Like Us. I don't think it's objectively like terrible. My opinion has gone down, and I think that's also partially based on the factor of it's just so overplayed. Like everybody's obsessed with it. I hear it everywhere, and I think that brings it down. But the quality of the music, it's not like top tier. It's the worst of the diss tracks, and yet it's the most popular.
Oh my god, Meet the Grams on Album of the Year as the
What?
classification of horrorcore.
No,
What the fuck?
it's not horrorcore. Oh my god.
Oh, Kendrick Lamar fans are the most embarrassing people ever.
Yeah. It's totally horrorcore.
Oh, if I
With the
I'll
likes of
put it-
3-6
if I find
Mafia.
it- Yeah. If I can find it, I'll post the embarrassing Drake or Kendrick versus Drake is like Israel versus Palestine Twitter post. That's like top.
Yeah,
tier
it really is. Yeah,
Anyway,
going back
the
to
album.
TPAB.
Let's be
Yes.
positive for a little minute. Before we go back to being negative, 'cause people.
I haven't been too overly negative.
The production on this album is pretty good.
It does
Probably
have
the
very good
best aspect
production.
of
You
it.
can't really criticize the production in most areas.
I feel like even songs I dislike, like King Kunta, I feel like the production's really good. I don't always like when Kendrick modifies people's voices or his own on this
Yeah,
album.
it
but
has.
It has worked on this album.
I kind of hold a similar opinion. It really depends on how it's done. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's a little bit worse, but it's not. I wouldn't say it's ever like terrible.
I feel like the guest features are all pretty solid, except for Rhapsody, who's a bad rapper, so it's not really.
I still don't think she's as bad as I think she just her verse is just a little below like mediocre.
Agree to disagree. But yeah, Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Dogg's part is very good. Thundercat's really good throughout it.
It's Institutionalized is my favorite.
No, it's my favorite.
I believe.
Because the Black or the Berry, so I disagree with some of that stuff.
Yeah, that's
I think
best.
I think Institutionalized and Black or the Berry, like those are the songs to come back to. If somebody wanted to get the hits of the album and they didn't want to listen to the full thing, those are the two songs you should listen to. Those are actually really enjoyable songs.
Like yeah, Black or the Berry, another good song. Despite some of the lyrics, the actual overall the hypocrite part is actually really good. I think not many black people bring up the we complain about Whitey and then like kill themselves in the street all the time.
Yeah, no, I think it's good. I think he definitely, the way he portrays his voice in that song too, it probably has like the most impact in his voice. The beat is good.
Also, the beat's pretty good.
Now it's something I thought about again. We've joked about it, and I want to go back to Zulu. He many times he also obviously mentioned with the apartheid and Mendel, but he talks about Zulu and his South African roots, but he talks about it almost as if in a way that's really odd, as if he was like taken from there or his parents were directly from there. They're not. They're both from just the U.S. His roots aren't like closely connected there. I don't know. It's not necessarily horror. It's just a weird way he describes that, as if he's like so close to there, even though he's very clearly not. And like he knows so much. He knows like he has a connection with the people, even though he very clearly doesn't.
I mean, okay, there's nothing wrong with like
Well,
being
that's
proud
true,
over.
but I mean it more in the way if he acts like he's like with them, even though he's not. I don't think like looking back at your roots and being like I maybe I want to look more into them as bad, but he describes it in a way like he's like with them now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm proud of my German, like American, like
Yeah.
English
And I'm proud
roots.
about my Irish Manchu roots.
There's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, but Kendrick
Yeah,
Lamar's
he
not weird
is.
about it.
Oh,
Well, Ash, you shouldn't be proud of your Irish roots.
that's not
You fat,
true.
disgusting slob. You brown.
That's what you call Irish people, brown. Shut up.
They're not white. You don't deserve the rank.
Uh, I think if we're gonna talk about weird stuff, we should also talk about the worst song on this album by far, "Hood Politics."
Important to know that Hood Politics is not my least favorite
That's
song
true.
on the
What is your
album.
least favorite?
That how much a dollar
I
cost?
don't think that song's that bad. I think "Hood Politics" is just terrible, though.
So no, Hood Politics is
It
bad.
is. uh, Demo Crips
Demo
and
Crips, Rebloodlicans.
yeah, it's a terrible line. That
Oh god, that song also just that's one of the worst produced songs
it
on the
is.
album.
It's just
Bobo.
yeah. The chorus is the worst part of the song. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't get how people like that chorus.
You want to just go with Bobo? It's so annoying.
Really, but let's talk about how this album gets worse after like the
Uh,
halfway point. Like it drops off. It only really picks up for Black of the
yeah,
Berry.
it does. I agree.
Like after All Right, this album. Well, that's not even halfway through, but like All Right, there's like only the Black of the Berry
Well,
sample.
I actually think How Much a Dollar Cost is a solid song, even though you disagree. So I would argue there's two good songs.
Uh, I mean, the how much a dollar cost is. I disagree that with the first off the ending is oh damn that homeless guy was God. I guess I can't go to heaven now. Like you're not gonna go to hell for not giving a homeless guy a dollar. Like that homeless man was like begging at like a gas station. Kendrick Lamar's just trying to fill his gas. It's not like an immoral thing to not give homeless people money when he's just like out at a gas station. Like Kendrick Lamar could have presented the story better. He was just like, oh, just a homeless guy.
Uh,
You didn't give him money, now you're going to hell. Like, I don't know, like he's missing like an arm or something. He's fucking on a fence slump. I don't know.
okay, he does not describe him
Like
as
it's
on a
just
fence slump.
no. I'm saying he should have like maybe described him as like in a worse condition. Like
Oh,
oh, like I don't feel bad just seeing a like not giving a dollar to a homeless guy. Like Kendrick Lamar shouldn't feel like this internal conflict over he doesn't. I don't know if he lived in California. He lived in California. I don't know if he did during making this album, but he sees homeless people everywhere he goes. Like
yeah, it's. I will say
also the beat and verses just aren't performed
that
well.
that's where I disagree. I
That's
can see where you're coming from. That it is odd how he sets that part up, but that's where I disagree. I don't think the beat's bad. It's not the best ever, but I think his like the actual verses and his flow is what actually makes this quite an enjoyable song. I think he sounds good on here.
no, but the message is
The message is
this like progressive guilt over a single homeless person, like who turns out to be God, is just awful. This might be Kendrick Lamar's like worst way he's ever presented a message.
I don't know about that, but it's definitely odd. I think there's absolutely a much better way to present like an internal conflict about doing the good thing or just ignoring it. And he does not present it the
Yeah.
best here because all it is a homeless guy asking for a handout with like no description of what the homeless guy's like other than staring at him and making him uncomfortable by staring at him.
Yeah, that's another thing. The homeless guy's like, he's like pestering Kendrick Lamar. Why did Kendrick Lamar be inclined to give him anything? Like, that homeless man is not entitled to your wealth, Kendrick.
No. I think it I think the hell part is dumb, but I do think even though I agree with that, I understand where he's coming from when he talks about like trying to defend not doing it and realizing that not sharing around money is what caused him to be or being selfish is what caused him to be wealthy, which is not what you would is not the reason you would want to be wealthy. But I don't know how fully true that is. I think that's kind of like a look into the psyche, but I still think it's not done the
The thing
best.
is, I also disagree. I think Kendrick Lamar got to where he was based off his hard work.
Well, yes,
Like,
I don't think that's the true thing. I think that's just a look into the psyche. He believes that.
I guess, but like, I personally, I don't think you're going to hell for not giving money to homeless people.
Mm. I
It's good to do that, but like, you shouldn't
I
feel
don't think that,
guilt
but I don't think that's
for
supposed to
not.
be the full takeaway of it. Obviously, it's there, but I don't think the takeaway is, yeah. And if you've ever not given money to a homeless person, you're going to hell.
Well, no, I just disagree with Kendrick. Like, I don't agree with the way Kendrick presented the message, or that he should feel bad for the homeless guy who's pestering him.
Yeah, ba- I can agree with that. Like maybe it would have been if he described it as like some homeless guy that like I don't know, his family's also homeless on the street and he just wants to get food for them, or something like that. Maybe it could like have some effect where it's like, well, it's just objectively good, but this is just one guy. You get like no info about him, so there's no reason to like feel
Yeah.
bad for him other than the fact that like, oh, it sucks he's homeless.
Alright, you're just reiterating what I said
Yeah.
earlier. Let's just move on to a different song.
Um.
uh, let's talk about Wesley's theory.
Yes. This used to be my favorite song of the album. It is nowhere near anymore.
Any reason it used to be your favorite?
I don't know. I used to really like it. I really liked the I don't know. I liked the chorus. I thought it was like a fun rhyme scheme, but coming back to it, I don't think it's bad, but I don't think it's anything.
The intro's good. This is probably the third best produced song on the album.
Maybe. I'm gonna be honest. I mentioned this though.
I
I
think.
don't think except for the part where they're singing together, I don't think George Clinton sounds that good on this song.
Really?
Yes. I don't when he's like more on his own, I don't think he personally sounds the best. I don't think it's terrible.
Hmm. He's like the least important part of the song.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know. I still think it's a solid song. It's not bad. It stands as a fine intro.
No, it's one of the better
Yeah.
ones.
I think we should
It,
I
what?
was gonna say I think we should bring up the interludes because the interludes are definitely a down point for this album.
For Free is like one of the worst Kendrick
This
songs.
dick ain't free. Yeah, it is. It's terrible. Its point sucks.
It's an idea that's already been done before, which no idea is original, but if you're doing an idea that's been done before by better artists, like, do it in an original way that doesn't sound like
Yeah,
shit.
yeah. Just the main thing is just
Like,
it sounds terrible the entire way through.
well, the thing is that also makes it worse is his verse in the later half. It sounds like it's building up, but like it never reaches to a point.
Uh, yeah, that's fair.
And also, For Sale interlude goes on too long. Is-
Uh,
It comes after All Right, so it sounds like nothing.
Yeah, it just goes on too long, and it doesn't sound like horrible, but it doesn't exactly sound that good either. It's like a very like sound. Uh, I would argue it's a bit lower than that. It's not memorable at all, and it doesn't sound that good, and it just feels like a waste of your time.
It's like a 2 out of 10. It's not a
Uh,
bad song.
it's like I'd say it's like a 4, but I still don't think it's that good. I think this album could have been a lot better if the interludes were just cut out.
I think the song could have been better if he like cut out like most of the
That's,
songs.
like half of them, like half the songs.
That no, there's like 2 songs worth revisiting.
Uh, that's probably true. Yeah, as much. Well, I have more of a standard. There's a lot more songs that I have. I think they're just like, yeah, they're pretty solid, but I don't think I'd come back to them as much as just the main 2 that I like.
Yeah, institutionalized.
Yeah.
Back in the berry. I think "You" is another interesting point or song we should touch on.
Yeah.
Because you like "You" and I don't like it.
Yes, that is true.
And my dislike is truly it's not like a personal Kendrick Lamar way he's complaining. It's purely from an artistic standpoint. I just do not like his vocal delivery. I don't like anything about the song. Some of the lyrics, like the fucking FaceTime thing, like, oh god, that sucks, man.
Uh,
Oh, I really sorry that happened.
yeah, I think
Like, but also I just I don't know. I don't like how it's performed.
I mean,
or said.
I can get that. I can understand the vocal delivery, but I think it's actually the vocal delivery is kind of impactful. I think the lyrics are very strong, and I feel like it gives me a better connection to them. I think this is one of the songs that does that better as a whole, and I think it's a lot more powerful. And then I know we had differing opinions on the last verse where it really slows down, but I think that honestly really hits it because I feel the last verse is the most important, and it keeps it a lot slower and less into the tone he was going before to really let what he's saying settle in. So I think "You" is actually performed quite well. It gave me the biggest impact. Well, one of the biggest impacts.
Yeah, I mean, my opinions of "You" are true, like 100% subjective. There's no like objective thing to go against.
Yeah.
But I would just want to make my point clear. I'd like to just compare it to Big's "Suicidal Thoughts." And how that song, like, I think Biggie got essentially the same point of view down way better without sacrificing like delivery.
Well, I think that's true, but well, it's also again still subjective. My point's subjective. I mean, I think "Suicidal Thoughts" is a better song. "Suicidal Thoughts" is probably my favorite, or like top 3 favorite Biggie songs, but it is.
No, it's a great song.
But as a whole, I think "You" is still very solid. I think it's comparing it to what is just a better song. Yes, obviously there's better delivery in that song, but that I still think this stands on its own pretty well.
I mean, I don't know, it's just that's hard.
Yeah, I think it's basically like some other songs. There's a bit more objectives to certain things, certain factors. This is like purely subjective on both of this. It really comes down to, do you like this kind of delivery? Do you not? Do you like how he goes about it? Do you not?
I don't know. Maybe it's just that "Suicidal Thoughts" just sounds more real to me.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
I don't know. Asher, you my negus.
Yes, I am.
Let's talk about that. That really date Mortal Man. Let's talk about Mortal Man.
Yeah, I'll mention Mortal Man quick, and then
Mortal Man is such an awful, like, fart smelling song from Kendrick.
yeah, it is exactly what I mentioned earlier about the Tupac thing, and it goes on so long.
Yeah. We really dates the album. We ain't saying the N word. We say negus.
Yeah.
Like there's a reason no one says that anymore. It's such a ridiculous, outlandish claim.
Yeah, it's really stupid.
Yeah, it's just. Yeah, I don't like this album. I think this album truly represents a downturn in Kendrick Lamar. Or it sucks.
Yeah.
I think Kendrick Lamar had talent, could have been truly great artist. But I think this album represents a downturn. I don't think he recovered
I
from.
think coming from me, somebody who hasn't listened to as much Kendrick as he has, I think just as a whole, I think the album's it's still enjoyable to an extent, but it's not that great by any means. There's definitely a lot of downsides to it. It's not like an album I'd like recommend full wholeheartedly. If you want to listen to Kendrick, listen to Good Kid, Mad City.
And then Ash, let's give a our top two favorite and least favorite tracks and number rating.
Uh, okay. Do you want to start?
Yeah, my top two tracks were Institutionalized and The Blacker the Berry. My least favorite two were Mortal Man and then How Much a Dollar Cost.
Yeah.
And my number rating for the album is just a 3 out of 10.
My top two were Institutionalized and The Blacker the Berry again. I think they're just the best songs. And the worst ones were Mortal Man and the worst of them all, Hood Politics. And as a whole, it's 6.5 out of 10.